Crowhill here. Today we review an IPA and ask, how did Star Trek go from Sherry Jackson to gay Klingons in skirts? Pigweed, how's it going?
Hello, Crowhill.
All
Good evening.
How about some beer and conversation?
I think that's an excellent idea. What are we drinking?
We're drinking Steady Eddie IPA.
Delicious.
Because it has something to do with some sports thing.
Well, we'll get into that. Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right.
That's awesome. And what's on your mind?
Well, there was a time when I had watched, other than the animated series, where I had watched every type of Star Trek. Like, I'd watched every movie, every TV show, multiple times.
All right.
There was a time where I could say, there is no Star Trek that I hadn't seen, except the animated series. And then they started going in a direction that I didn't like, and I kind of got sick of it.
All right.
And now, like, the most recent series, like, I watched the first episode, and I was like, that's it, no more.
Yeah, and by the time you watch the second, there was news that it's canceled.
Right,
Or I think they still have to complete the second series.
Yeah, I'm not even sure they will.
Season.
But anyway, yeah. So Star Trek has definitely fallen,
right.
And the question is,
but it's been a big part of your entertainment life.
It has, and the question is, what went wrong, and why did it? Why have the mighty fallen?
Yeah, very good.
There we go. All right.
Well. Here we are. I just happened to be wearing my Orioles shirt while drinking this. Can of IPA with Steady Eddie,
right.
Referring to Eddie Murray of the Orioles. Mm-hmm. Because today's opening day.
Opening day.
Yes, it is. And the Orioles won 2-1 over the Minnesota Twins.
Okay. And the Nats actually won 10-4 over the Cubs.
Okay, well, that's a good start.
That's a good opening day.
That's a good start.
Opening day.
Excellent.
Okay.
Let me try the beer.
Mm-hmm. So I think we've had this Steady Eddie before.
Oh, my.
It's 7.0% IPA. It doesn't have tons of aroma, but it's got a really good hop flavor.
This is a bang. Now, what I've done over the last few years is brew my closest thing to a clone that I could come up with, my Fast Eddie, just because it is my idea of an IPA.
It's pretty good.
A little bit of body, and it's got the right amount of bitterness as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's locally brewed, as you can imagine, here in Bmore, and Steady Eddie IPA.
And Eddie had a weird mustache. What is going on with that mustache?
I know, he's just like he's from the 20s.
Yeah,
he had a long career, but his numbers are amazing. To get into the Hall of Fame unofficially, not officially, but unofficially, they're like 3,000 hits, 500 homers.
Okay.
And he got both of those, 3,255 hits, 504 homers, and 19 grand slams.
Wow.
So those are the kind of numbers that'll get you into the HOF.
Okay.
Okay, very good, very good. So I do not have nearly the relationship that you have with Star Trek. I would say as a young fella, we only had 3 channels.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, I was a Star Trek original series guy by default.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like, well, everybody's watched that because there's not that much to watch. And what was it on, 10, 12, 15 years?
No, like 3 years.
Yes.
Which is terrible. That was only on for a short
But I think a lot of us have that experience of just seems like there was a lot of Kirk going on. Yeah. And it was 66 to 69.
Yeah.
And
I know, and it really should. It's like a worse example of this is the TV show Firefly. You ever watched that?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a great series, and it was only one. It was only one season. It's like, what the heck? Why? This is such a great show.
You're telling me all those Star Trek, Star Wars people out there didn't get on board for this enough to get a second season?
It was almost like somebody intentionally sabotaged the thing. But anyway, Star Trek did okay for 3 years, and then on syndication, it just played and played and played and played and played.
And poor Gene Roddenberry, who could have had rights to the show. I mean, can you imagine the syndication?
Oh my gosh! All the money he could have made.
Oh
That's
gosh!
Right. But then what came after?
But didn't they launch his ashes into space?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That's kind of a cool and fitting ending.
And of course they named the first shuttle Enterprise.
All right.
Yeah.
So he had the legacy of that first show, or the whole series, but
Pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So in terms of release years, then you had 73 to 74 animated series.
I know.
Do anything for you?
I watched a couple of them with my brother. They're okay. They're not really all that interesting.
Right.
But
then I think they did a bunch of movies. So all I have this list here is just the TV series.
yeah, there were some movies in
So
there.
like 74 to 87 looks like nothing was going on. But
Well, there were some movies, and some of them were. Like the first Star Trek movie was really not very good.
Okay.
The second one, The Wrath of Khan, was a pretty good movie.
yeah.
And then they moved on from there, and some of them were good, and some of them were not so good. I don't know. It's catch as catch can.
So then, in my relationship with it is then we get to Next Generation.
Yes.
So that's my baby. When
Right.
I was living with roommates and a girlfriend, and we didn't have cable. And there was a lot of Next Generation going on. So that's the one that I remember the most. Now, what my girlfriend didn't realize is that Commander Troy looked like a previous girlfriend. So my crush had like a hidden agenda to it.
I see.
Yes, but
Yeah.
she was kind of nice as she was a Betazoid.
Yes.
And she was she could feel your feelings or something. Is that
She
how
was
it
only
works?
half Betazoid.
Yeah.
But she could sense, like a full Betazoid could basically read your mind. And Troy could pretty much understand what you were feeling, but not quite read your mind quite as much as a full
But
Betazoid.
a great second to Kirk. Jean-Luc Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard was an interesting character.
I really liked him. Then you had Worf, who was a what? What was
So
it?
Worf was a Klingon,
He was a
and this
Klingon.
was, the original series Klingons looked very different. All of a sudden, they just redesigned the Klingons for the
So
Next
they look like
Generation.
the Mongols.
Yeah, I know. They didn't. They looked like humans with a little bit of makeup.
Yeah.
Which is what they were.
Sort of brown with the Fu Manchu mustaches, and so that was original Klingon.
Yes.
So then when Worf comes along, now they have spiky heads.
Yeah, they've got this weird ridge that runs along their head, and they've got
But in this first series, they're the bad guys. How does he end up on the Enterprise?
Well, one of the things about the Enterprise, one of the things about Star Trek, is it always tried to paint a positive view of the future.
Yes.
So it was always here's this horrible situation. Can we be friends?
Right.
And I mean, sometimes they had to kick some butt, but there was this underlying ethos of expanding the reach of the values of the Federation. So the idea was that in between the original
Let me get back
series,
to Gene one for one.
Yeah.
That he was in World War II,
Uh-huh.
and he'd seen the worst of mankind. And so, yes, so that's exactly what he had in mind, was a vision of men being better.
yes, a positive vision of the future, where
we can do better.
You can do better, and
That included
That included a lot of things. It
being
included,
inclusive.
Exactly. It included having Uhura on the bridge. And, Whoopi Goldberg famously says, or pretends that she said, when she was a kid, she was watching Star Trek, and she yelled out to her mom, "Hey, Mom, there's a black woman on TV, and she's not a maid." So on the bridge, you had Uhura, you had a Japanese guy, you had a Russian guy.
Right, when things were pretty rough with the Russians.
Yeah, exactly. And then you had Spock, so you had this diversity going on there, but it wasn't...
But the enemy was the Klingons, and then later on, they
made
bring a
friends with them.
Klingon on board.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's move through the... All right, so that's really... I guess Data became the new Spock.
Yeah, exactly.
In a kind of clinical, logical way.
Data was an android, if you're not familiar with
right.
Yeah, right.
And his... okay, so now I'm just sort of vaguely familiar with all of the rest of the series. So now we go to Deep Space Nine.
So Next Generation had a pretty good run. They were on for 7 seasons, something like that.
Right.
And then Deep Space Nine was a new idea. Instead of having ships that were going around, Deep Space Nine was a space station on the edge of a wormhole. So basically, things were coming to them rather than them going out.
Oh, not exploring strange new worlds.
Yeah, it was
coming to the.
Wasn't the greatest concept for Star Trek, but it had there were some really good episodes in Deep Space Nine, and I think, generally speaking, Deep Space Nine is underrated.
Okay.
There are some really good episodes on there.
So I'm not seeing any recognizable characters, but Voyager comes after that. So these are running sort of concurrently here.
Somewhat,
is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
So
they're
Voyager,
not always chronological. All right. So Voyager,
we get a female captain. And the ship gets knocked out all the way to the Delta Quadrant. So, in other words, way across the galaxy.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly how it happens, but they're sent way, way, way far away, where at maximum warp it's going to take 150 years to get back or something. So the ship is obsessed with trying to get back to the Federation space. And they encounter a bunch of things along the way. And it was kind of interesting. The biggest thing to remember about Deep Space Nine, about Star Trek Voyager, is 7 of 9.
Hello!
They decided to... So, the original series was, it was made in the 60s. So you had women in short skirts, and it was very much a 60s kind of a thing. Star Trek The Next Generation had some sexuality to it, but it wasn't the 60s.
Right.
But it also wasn't 7 of 9. 7 of 9 was just like, in your face, I'm wearing a skin-tight outfit, in heels, and...
But wait a minute. All right, I accept if you're going to bring a Klingon on board. You're bringing a Borg?
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
So 7 of 9, I guess that means that that it sort of implies a sort of production line.
Yeah, she was a Borg.
Yeah.
And they rescued her from the Borg, and that's one of the subplots of the whole show is her development from being a Borg to being a full human being.
All right.
Yeah. So it's pretty. It's interesting. It's a fairly good show.
Did she turn her back on Borg life and
eventually? But that's part of the conflict going on.
Good.
Is Voyager? Janeway, who's the captain.
Yeah.
Janeway trying to get 7 of 9 to become more of a human, and 7 of 9, her loyalty is always kind of questionable at first, and then she's progressively changing and becoming more and more human. So that's pretty interesting. The show starts off with there's this group headed by Chakotay, who's this leader of this kind of a rebel group, and the Voyager crew and Chakotay's crew get merged together. So there's this conflict going on from the very beginning, which was actually kind of an interesting way to set up some tension and things in the story. So it was a decent show. I liked it. It was pretty good.
All right, so what's after that?
Enterprise, they decided, let's go back in time to before Kirk. So this was like...
So I have my chronology list over here. So the original series with Kirk is actually third.
Yeah.
In chronology-wise. Now we're back. 2151, that's only 125 years from now.
Yeah. So this is in the very early days of Starfleet travel.
Well, Musk is going to have to get busy.
I know.
If he's going to get us up to 2151 Enterprise.
Yeah. Got it. So the idea is, Zephram Cochrane is the guy who invented warp drive. And this is just shortly after that, where they're starting, the Vulcans are still kind of helping humans to develop themselves into an interstellar species, and the Vulcans are kind of holding the humans back. You're not ready, you're not ready, you're not ready. And the humans are like, forget you, we're going to do it anyway. And so the Enterprise is like this somewhat of a rebellion against the Vulcans kind of holding them back, and they're going to go out there and do their thing. And it was a pretty good show.
I like the premise.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show. And following up on the Voyager having 7 of 9, Star Trek Enterprise had a character named T'Pol, who was a pretty amazing-looking woman, and of course
not human.
Not human. She's Vulcan,
right?
And of course, wearing a skin-tight outfit.
Hello.
Yes. Okay. So they were playing off the whole sex up the show thing again. Yeah.
Right.
And the other characters, I mean, Hoshi Sato was a good-looking Asian woman. She was the translator. She knew all kinds of languages and could figure things out like that. So after Enterprise, up till now, so original series, forget the animated series.
Yeah.
Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, all of those.
If you're an original Star Trek fan, you are not disappointed in these.
I went along with all those. I thought they were all pretty good. Discovery turned the page. Discovery changed things in a sort of a fundamental way.
Yeah. And
they did a bunch of things. One thing is, in the original series, do you remember that episode where Kirk, Spock, Uhura, and Bones go into an... No, not Spock. Spock, they go into an alternate universe where, like the evil universe, where there's an evil Spock.
Oh, okay, yes.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
So the idea was that there were these two different... Mirror, it was called, right? So there were these two different universes. There was the universe with the good Federation and the universe with the bad Federation. The good Spock, the bad Spock. Well, Discovery kind of played off that and was saying, we're going to have a show in the other timeline, where they basically played with all these different concepts and messed up the concept of a regular chronology to the shows.
Well, so in my chronology list over here, we're talking about the 2200s, the 23rd century, right? This thing says that Discovery, the first two seasons are the 23rd century, and the season 3 becomes the 32nd century.
Yeah, I know, it was very strange.
1,000 years.
It's very strange. They introduce all kinds of strange elements, but the most disappointing things about Discovery was the main character, played by Michael Burnham. She's just sort of tiresome. And the show was like, you see a bunch of crying and people talking about their feelings. And it's just like, come on. This is not what Star Trek is about.
2017 now. All right, so now we're getting into the feelings age. Right. Short Treks, you're saying that's not a
I don't even know what that one is. Discovery just turned off my you have to watch Star Trek.
All right. So now what about Picard? This is 2020 through 2023. And is Jean-Luc Picard, is it still Patrick Stewart?
It's still Patrick Stewart.
Okay.
And because it was Patrick Stewart and it was Picard, I thought, I should watch this one. Yeah. And it was okay. There were some good points, but it was kind of weird and not tremendously well done.
That had a 3-year run, and then what is Lower Decks?
Lower Decks, oh my gosh, it was another cartoon thing.
Okay.
But it was this frenetic, fast-paced, all this like fast motion and fast talking, and like it gave me a headache just trying to watch it. So I never watched that one. Prodigy, I don't even know what Prodigy is.
2020. All right. Then now over here, back to my chronology list. Strange New Worlds has Captain Pike.
Yes.
Which I remember Captain Pike being in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair. Yes.
So this is just before the Kirk.
Yes.
Series. Okay.
This is the Enterprise before Kirk. So Kirk wasn't the first captain of the Enterprise. Pike was before him.
Okay.
So Strange New Worlds.
That seems like an interesting place to explore.
Yes, exactly.
In the Star Trek world.
Yes, and it's actually a good show. Now there were some stupid episodes and some good episodes. Apparently the problem is sometimes they bring in writers that understand and like the Star Trek universe, and other times they bring in writers who hate and despise the Star Trek universe. I don't know why they do this, but they bring in people who don't like Star Trek and are trying to change it. So in Strange New Worlds, you see this back and forth between that's a good episode, that was a horrible episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, before we get speaking of that, before we get to the most recent one, I have a quiz for you.
Okay.
I have a couple of quizzes, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So this is somebody's idea of the hottest 10.
Okay.
So can you identify them and their place them in the Star Trek universe? Well, you've already
7 and 9
1 and 2. You've already nailed to 1 and 2.
Carol Marcus. So the original reference to Carol Marcus was in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, the movie.
Yeah.
but she also shows up in some of the later movies. So she's a girlfriend of Kirk.
Okay, and you've also
Hoshi
you already
Sato, we've
brought
already
her
talked
up, right?
about. Jadzia was in Deep Space Nine. Nona, gosh.
She looks like she goes back to the original.
That goes back to the original series. Yeah, that was in the episode Private Little War, I think.
All right.
And then, all right, Nyota Uhura. So Uhura has two incarnations. In the original series,
right,
you had Nichelle Nichols who plays it. And then in the movies,
the Chris Pine movie,
movie, you've got a
she's lovely,
much slimmer Uhura who's absolutely lovely. Andrea, oh my gosh! So she is Sherry Jackson from an original series TV show.
I thought I might have some stump.
Blana Taurus was from Voyager,
all right,
and Lita was from Deep Space Nine. So.
All right, yeah, I guess you did all right.
Yeah.
Now the villains.
Okay.
So hold on here. I'm going to cover up their names because they're on the thing.
Okay.
So the old black and white.
Yeah.
What? Let's.
I know the episode.
Do you want to talk about the progressivism of the thing? Yeah.
So Star Trek, the original series, Star Trek has always been a morality show.
Right.
They've always taken contemporary moral issues and tried to re-express them in some sort of an interesting.
And the little thing I read about Gene Roddenberry, that's what he wanted. That's what his vision was. Like I said about men can do better and whatever. And the studios were like, we need some explosions and some shooting and some aliens.
They want cowboys in space.
Yes. So that was kind of the tension there.
Yeah.
But I just remember this as a kid. So they have half black, half white faces.
Yes.
Two guys, and they hate each other.
Yes.
And nobody can figure out why they hate each other.
Yeah, it's because
So
one
why
of
is it?
them's black on the left side, one of them's black on the right side.
Right.
And the whole point of the episode was to say, isn't that a stupid reason to hate somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you to
Exactly.
think that.
No.
They give you the show, that they give you a moral dilemma.
Yes.
And they say, well, what do you think?
Yeah.
Right? And
They're not stuffing it down your throat. They're not giving some preachy thing from some whiny.
Yeah, and it's not cowboys shooting each other in space.
Yes.
Well, what about this blue guy here? Does that mean anything to you?
I know I've seen him, but I'm not
getting.
getting.
For you?
No, it's not doing anything for me.
Well, let's come down the list here.
Okay, the good old Andorians. So
What?
Andorians are these blue guys who have these antennae on them, and they were bad guys in the original series on Journey to Babel, but they were more enemies in Enterprise. So that's where those guys come from.
Not friends. What are these pig-nosed guys?
Those guys are. I'm pretty sure they're also from Enterprise. I don't remember exactly who they are. Tellarites. Oh no, they were Next Generation. Sorry, Tellarites were Next Generation.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got. Don't think you're getting away too easy.
Okay.
Here we've got.
All right. So this is Deep Space Nine.
Now he looks like a Vulcan to me.
He's not. He's not. He's a Romulan.
Well, what is there? Isn't there a relationship?
Yes, there's a relationship, and that was explored in a original series episode where they first encounter the Romulans, and there's this one guy on the bridge, Stiles, Lieutenant Stiles, who is really prejudiced against Spock, but
he's a Romulan.
No, the Stiles is a human,
Oh.
and he's prejudiced against Spock. And then when he finds out that the Romulans look like Spock, he's even more prejudiced against him. So anyway, but this guy is a Romulan, and I can't remember what series he's from. Okay, that guy is from Deep Space Nine. He was just a guy who hung out in the bar. Okay, all right. So these guys, what the heck is going on there? I don't even know who those people are.
All right, how about these?
Oh, those are Ferengi. Ferengi were introduced in Next Generation.
These are later on.
Kazon. Oh, the Kazon. That was Voyager.
Nah.
Yeah, they were the bad guys in Voyager.
So that's the Paul.
That's the Paul. The Gorn. Now the Gorn is amazing because in the original series you have Kirk fighting the Gorn.
And this is just a guy in a rubber suit.
Yes.
And
he's really slow. He's really strong, but he's really slow, and Kirk's able to fight him. In Strange New Worlds.
Oh, so he's a sophisticated CGI kind of a Gorn.
In Strange New World, the Gorn are fast and scary, and they're amazing. But like that
original Gorn,
yeah,
he's rough.
So she's from Deep Space Nine.
Right.
That's oh gosh, I can't remember her name.
But do you know what she is? Those ridges, does that tell you anything?
Oh, she's a Bajoran.
Yes.
Bajoran, yes. And then that's like a revised Klingon or something.
Oh, I know. You know what? I know who the actress is. You can see through the thing, and she's kind of sexy.
Yeah.
These guys?
I don't know those guys.
Breen?
Oh, the Breen.
Does
yeah,
that
okay.
say anything
yep.
to you?
And then I don't remember them.
Well, that is new Spock, not Spock. New McCoy.
I don't recognize him. I don't know who that is. You got me on that one.
All right, and
okay, so that's Jadzia Dax.
Right.
He's in Deep Space Nine. Gul Dukat. He's a Bajoran. He's an enemy of.
Think of. Think of Kylie and the Kardashians.
Yeah, he's a Cardassian. Yes. Is that what I said? I'm sorry, you're right. He's a Kardashian, not a Bajoran. He was the enemy of the Bajorans. And then, oh my gosh, so this is original series. This is the movie. The first movie had this bald chick as a character. This guy is the movie where Picard has like a twin brother or something weird like that. And this is original. This is a green Orion slave woman.
So I got Orion, Riemann, and Delton.
Delton, yeah.
Right.
So Riemann as in Romulus and Remus.
Ah.
So he's not a Romulan, he's a Riemann.
So they're
similar.
on the same team, or
no, they're bad guys. They're bad guys. He's the shapeshifter on Deep Space Nine.
Oh, so his name is perfect then, as a changeling.
He's the changeling.
I think this is not from Star Trek.
I don't know what
and
that is.
Who do we have here?
Oh, that's Whoopi Goldberg playing. What's the name of her character? She's.
But you know what? I thought she was a human.
No.
This has her as a. I don't know. I can't read my own writing. Elorans,
yeah.
Something.
Yeah, so they're a race of listeners where they can like. You
Yeah,
think
she was always at the bar, like like a bartender.
Yeah.
You know, you can walk up and you can tell them your story
So
of your life.
in Next Generation, they introduced this concept of 10 Forward, which was the bar in the front of the Enterprise, and she was the bartender, and she and Captain Picard had this weird relationship, and she was kind of interesting. I mean, Whoopi Goldberg.
But how
is
nice
not,
for that let's not talk about the five. That to be inspired, and then to be inspired by Uhura, and then Uhura, and then getting
and then
the
get on the show. Yes.
Opportunity. That must have been a big deal.
Guinan is her name. I don't know why it took that long to come into my brain, but yeah, she was an interesting character. I mean, I don't like Whoopi Goldberg, but Guinan was interesting.
Yeah, and I'm just glad for Whoopi to to
Isn't it
fulfill
great?
her.
Isn't it great that she was able to do that?
Go that full circle.
That's
so
fantastic.
we're talking about the vision of of Star Trek, and it's presenting moral quandaries, moral dilemmas, and allowing the audience kind of work their way through. And so
what's happened?
We get to
what's happened is people have become completely ham-fisted about this stuff. It's no longer we're going to present an interesting moral dilemma in a new light to kind of get you to think about it a little bit. We're going to have some obnoxious character lecture you. It's like Twitter in Star Trek,
right. But given Star Trek's history, they would never succumb to such an approach for their latest show, would they? Now we have Season 1, Starfleet Academy. If I had seen this promo pic is what help me out here. What is this promo pic? So
it looks like a teen romance
Yes.
TV
It's like,
show.
It looks like Friends plus 90210 in space.
Yeah, it's like people cosplaying science fiction and then also doing, hanging out in their college dorm.
So they're at the academy. The ship that they're on it's like a Google campus.
Yeah.
Right? It's not there's no deck or
I only watched the first episode. Like I knew it was going to be bad.
Well, it completely fell off the radar of their own. Who's in control? Is this Disney?
Yeah. I don't know who's in control. Paramount. Paramount's in control.
So Paramount. So after the first show, it fell to like 30 seconds. It fell behind reruns of shows that are 20 years old.
Yeah.
It fell off the radar so fast.
It was so bad. Like, I knew it was going to be bad because I knew it was going to be like Discovery, the next iteration of Discovery, which was terrible. And so I expected it to be terrible. And I watched the first episode and I was like, this is so bad. I'm done. I'm just not watching it anymore.
Obviously, you can't anticipate what language is going to be like
Yeah.
in a couple hundred years. So you keep it as neutral as possible, right? And I'm watching, and the guy's going, "Hey, bro, we're gonna be roomies."
I know.
I'm like, dude, you're making it the most. You're giving it the most 2020 vibe.
Yeah. It's just dumb in so many ways. So if you look at the captains, if you look at all the captains, you take Kirk and you take Captain Sisko and you take Captain Pike and you take Captain Janeway, Captain Picard, all these different captains, their presence on the bridge was a presence of a serious commander, who comes at you when he walks onto the bridge. Like
everybody straightens out. Right?
Yeah, there's this line Uhura says in one of the original series episodes where she would say, when you walked onto the bridge, I felt safe.
Boom.
And in this thing,
is it Holly Hunter or is it the woman who?
It's Holly Hunter, and
who I like.
I know. So she goes and she sits in the captain's chair like it's a little like she's 14 years old and she's in an Oregon coffee shop.
Yes, she looks like she wants a cup of wine, a glass of wine, and a cat.
Yes, and some romance book to read or something. It's like, what are you doing? This is not Star Trek. And then the other thing about it is, it's almost like the way they did the typecasting is, can we please have a diversity checklist and go through and make sure that we've got and the female character, there's some kick-ass female characters, and then the male characters are all these wimpy.
Yeah, there's no Chuck Norrises in there.
There's no Chuck Norrises in there. It's like bad in every way. There's a holodeck character. Okay, so in other words, this is a computer-generated character who is overweight and has emotional problems. Why would you make, if you're going to make a character, why would you do that?
Yeah. And so give me, if you're just going around the universe and you're like, hey, there's some Klingons over there. What would people say? Hey, those Klingons?
Yeah, they're warriors. Yeah. They're take no prisoners, and they're tough, and they're going to fight you, and they would like to fight you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
this guy wants to watch birds.
Wears skirts.
It's like, what in the world? Now, the thing is, a character like that in an other where everything else is normal, and then you have the one weird character. That's kind of fun and quirky and interesting.
Okay.
Right? But in Starfleet Academy, it's like everybody is the weird, stupid character.
And then there's that sort of like, welcome to Starfleet Academy, which is basically the butchy lesbian woman, I don't know what her role is on there, is sort of like cautioning against toxic masculinity, and you know what I mean? Like,
so what they did in Starfleet Academy is they said, let's take this platform that we have, and just ignore everything about the values of Star Trek and what it stands for and everything else, and let's just use it as a platform to preach a woke, stupid message.
Well, but I saw the Kutzman guy, who's now the one that's mostly in charge, talking about how consistent it is with the Star Trek history and how he much reveres that, and he's going to give them something that Star Trek fans can appreciate, and then explodes with this thing.
It's terrible, and he has no interest in Star Trek at all. He's just trying to use it as a sounding board. But so one of the things I was thinking about as I was thinking about this show is Star Trek's always been a morality play. It's always advocated progressive views. Yeah. But the old Star Trek was in a context. It was in a context of a space western adventure story, and there was a Hollywood glamour to it. Like you look, so I have this printout here of 47 women who were guest actresses on
like
Star
actresses
Trek.
that were already known, like walk-ons kind of a thing.
Some were already known, right. Joan Collins and some others who are well-known actresses. But then you've also got some new people who come along, but they were like incredibly attractive, glamorous, yeah. And they were presented as these beautiful women, and it wasn't like 7 of 9 in a skin type. Well, except the Sherry Jackson character, that one was a little over the top. But it wasn't this in-your-face sexuality. It was just, wow, that's a beautiful woman,
right.
And it was done very well. Where now they're trying to like tear down this whole idea. Like, okay, I was thinking about it like this. In the perfect future, is the perfect future one in which humans have become better? Or is the perfect future one in which everybody accepts everybody who's crappy and fat and ugly?
Yes.
Right? Exactly?
Yes, that's what Starfleet is shooting for.
Yes, so Starfleet...
Yes, the future is going to be so awesome. Why? Because you can be dumb and ordinary and fat and be a star.
Yes, and the original vision of Starfleet was, we're going to find the best of the best, the cream of the crop. These are, first of all, we've done so much to make humanity better. Nobody's starving. Everybody gets a decent education. Everybody is healthy.
There's no money. There's no food.
Everybody has good health care. But then even among that, we're going to take the cream of the crop, the really, really smart people, and the really, people who really know what's going on, and we're going to take them and make Starfleet. This new vision, this Starfleet Academy vision, is no. The reason people are wonderful in Starfleet Academy is because they accept people who are just awful.
And that's what makes you special.
That's right.
Because you have no standards.
Yes. But it goes, to some extent, it goes even beyond that. And it's not that the perfect future is a time where we accept people who are imperfect. The perfect future is a time where there's no such thing as perfect.
Even better.
Yes. That is the woke vision.
Really, it is kind of the woke goal.
Yeah.
Equity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is as good as anybody else, and then what's the Bergeron? And if they excel, we'll bring them back. We'll bring them back down to our level. So, but we're only talking about what year is this? 20. So we're only talking about 240 years from now.
Okay.
Is the Kirk original?
Yeah.
Are we going to get there? I mean, are we going to have warp drive, space travel, freedom from want, and that's 240? Does that seem like a stretch?
Well, Elon Musk thinks that AI and robotics is going to bring that kind of stuff in fairly quickly.
And he's like, we absolutely have to get off this planet.
Yeah. So, I would love to believe that that is possible and true. Like the optimist Star Trek vision in me is like, wouldn't that be lovely? I don't see a path.
Well, what
between here
about
and
your
there.
optimist vision in you of Star Trek the series? So they get rid of the Kutzman guy, and they say Crowhill. What would you like to see for the Star Trek future?
Yeah, so what I would do is I would find some people who have demonstrated that they're good at writing science fiction. I would take the Battlestar Galactica reboot guys. They wrote good episodes. I would take the Firefly guys.
Right.
They wrote good episodes. And I would take some Star Trek writers who have written some of the better episodes. You know, people who have shown
some of the movie guys.
Yeah, some of the ones who have shown that they know what they're doing and they can write good Star Trek stuff. And then I would say, okay, fine, let's get some of those guys in a room and come up with some ideas. Lay aside all the ideology, lay aside all the crazy woke nonsense, and say, let's make a really compelling, interesting, positive view of the future with some, interesting challenges, good villains, strong characters.
A little humor. Don't be silly.
Yes, a little bit. I mean, silly is okay every once in a while.
Some tribbles.
Yeah, tribbles are all right. But let's get some serious writers who actually like Star Trek, because I remember having some discussions with some friends when Brave New Worlds was on, and Strange New Worlds, and it was like it alternated between these writers liked Star Trek, these writers hated Star Trek, and that's what you need to get people who are strong science fiction writers who understand the series and like it. That's what you need.
And a strong and impressive and intimidating without being scary captain.
Yes. Somebody like Picard. I mean, Picard modeled that very well.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And he was and he wasn't a burly, intimidating figure. He just carried himself that way.
Yeah, that's what you want. And I don't care if it's a man or a woman or whatever. I don't really care about all that. But please just try to make characters you can look up to, characters who have some strong qualities, have some development, interesting things going on, without this preachiness and this whiny talk about feelings crap. Nobody wants to hear it.
And the original vision of we can be better.
Yeah, a positive future.
A positive view of the future of that mankind is a positive force for the universe.
Yes.
You know what I mean? In the sense that right now, I think
now all we get is how humans are ruining everything.
Are the worst, and the nature is great.
Yeah, right. No wonder kids don't want to have babies anymore. It's like, why would you do that?
Right.
You're just polluting.
You've already painted a picture of the future as horrible. Yeah. And humans is the problem.
You're going to bring a baby into the world? That's going to make the world worse. One more of those? That's bad.
Yeah. All right, so let's get back to the Star Trek spirit. And okay, last question. As a guy who's never got past Next Generation, if you were to recommend one series for me to visit.
Yeah, probably Strange New Worlds.
Oh, and that's very recent. So it's not it's not like it's falling off the table.
There's good and bad in Strange New Worlds.
Okay.
Some of them are really good, and some of them are kind of quirky. But I think that one's worth watching. Yeah.
Very good.
All right. Cheers. Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to like this video and share it with your friends.